We had SWAC Media Day this past week. And, of course, it was Coach Graves who got all the spotlight with the players from Southern. But we're going to do our own SWAC Media Day this morning, and nobody better than to start off doing it with than the defensive coordinator at Southern University, my man, Coach Henry Miller. Good morning, Coach Miller.
Good morning. Good morning. How we doing this morning?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Since they don't want to include the coordinators at the media day for the SWAC, we're going to do our own media day. We're going to put the coordinators in the spotlight today to give you your opportunity to talk to the media. How about that?
Hey, let's do it.
All right, let's look at this defense. Southern's defense, since you've been here, has been really good in the conference. Last year, looking at Southern's defense, you guys were third in scoring defense, giving up 23 points a game. On the other side, you're looking at third in total defense, giving up 300 yards a game. You were fifth in rush defense in the conference, 148 yards a game given up, but first in pass defense, giving up only 152 yards a game. We look at and start to peel back the layers of this team. Looking at the tackles, most tackles on the team, Vincent Page Jr., who was seventh in the SWAC with 95 total tackles on the season. Horatio Johnson was 18th in the SWAC with 74 total tackles. And then looking at Kelby Givens, who was 20th in the SWAC in total tackles with 73 total tackles, but he was first in the SWAC in tackles for loss and second in sacks, 12 on the season in 2024. Let's look at just the philosophy before we break down the positions. What is your philosophy that has kept this defense in the upper echelon of the SWAC conference since you arrived at Southern University?
Well, it's simple. I use a KISS syndrome. It's called KISS, Kiss, and you keep it stupid simple or keep it simple stupid. Okay, so you want to make sure that the guys understand what they're doing so they can do the three elements that we push hard, and that's play smart, play fast, and play physical. Those are the three things we put our hat on. And if we're doing that each game, then we have a chance of winning.
Talking about winning, let's start with the defensive line, looking at this team. For you, looking at the defensive line, what are you looking for in this team this year to bulk up and get better? And give us some names of those guys on the defensive line for you this year.
Well, the name thing I'm not going to hold because right now we getting ready for training camp, and I don't want to get nobody. I want everybody to understand that it's still a grind. Okay, so other than Givens, everybody else in the grind. Okay, they're in the grind. But I tell you this, we loaded in the defensive tackles. We had to go out and get some size. We had to go out there and get some depth. We in good shape at the defensive ends. So for us, talent-wise, I'm happy. Now I got to see if we can put this together.
And you're talking about talent-wise, your defensive line creating pressure, disrupting quarterbacks in the pocket, and pushing around offensive linemen. For you, when you look at even who's, the defensive coordinator as you are, and then looking at the D-line, what is your philosophy that you want your D-line to go out and play like?
Establish another line of scrimmage. That's the first thing they have to do as a defensive line. For us, you have to be able to establish another line of scrimmage, and once we be able to do that, then we can be as physical as we want.
And you're talking about being as physical as you want, man. You look at Kelby Givens. He is the preseason SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. What makes Kelby Givens so just the smart player that he is on the field, physical and tough? And not only that, he's not just good in the SWAC. He's an All-American in FCS football, one of the top in the nation.
And I'm finally glad to see that he's getting his recognition. He is a hard-working young man, and actually I tell my guys, if my best player on my defense can get in line and work hard and follow the things, then everybody else better fall in goddamn line.
That's it. Let's look at the linebacker position because, Coach, you about to fire me up. You about to get me going now. Hey, I see why they play well for you on Saturdays. Let's look at the linebacker position. Vincent Page Jr., he was all over the place, especially in that Bayou class. You couldn't look up and not see Vincent, but it seemed as the year went on, he was a guy that started to step up and get better and better, and his name became more familiar and more familiar. Talk about that linebacker position and starting with Vincent, because Vincent made the all SWAC first team defense at linebacker for Southern.
And it's well earned by him. Vincent is a smart kid. He's big, he's fast. And the thing about him, is he had to get comfortable in what he started believing. And once he started figuring it out that, hey, I'm gonna trust what I see, I'm gonna believe what coach is telling me, then his game picked up. He became a leader. And so all of those things I'm glad to see for him because we're expecting even more bigger things from him. He know how to get the front set up. He also know how the passing game go. And he know how to pressure the quarterback. So he's a good linebacker that we're looking forward to using.
What about the rest of that room? How does the linebacker room look that's going to complement Vincent Page Jr.?
Well, of course, I'm excited about how Mike Jones is looking this spring.
Who?
This summer. Mike Jones.
All right.
And I mean, Mike Jones is, if he continues to do what he's doing, he's going to be a very surprise for a lot of people, including ourselves. We don't know what his limit is. We don't even know what he's going to be able to give us. But we know that if he continues to tune in like he's doing, he's going to surprise a lot of people, including us. And then go ahead.
No, go ahead. My apologies.
Okay, and then I was going to talk about Campbell. Jamalo Campbell transferred in last year from a junior college. He's fitting in perfectly right now. And, this is his second year in the scheme. He's feeling a lot more comfortable. So we're expecting good things from him. We got a good linebacker core, a real good linebacker core, and a very competitive one.
And I look at the linebacker position because as we've seen the quarterback position evolve around college football, and then you incorporate the RPOs, a lot of option to go with it. Back in the day, linebackers was just to fill that plug, plug up any gaps that the quarterback or the running back, anybody may come through. Linebackers, you didn't have to have the speed. Now we're chasing quarterbacks, seem like every play. The linebacker position has evolved into something totally different from we remember the big guys with all the stuff around the neck, right? The big bulky guys. Now these guys got to be lean, and they got to be with some quickness to be able to keep up with the fast game, no huddle, quick pace offense that we've seen have evolved around college football these days.
Right, and you're talking about the RPO offense, and that's what the challenge of the defending the RPO offense is making sure that you line your skill position up on their skill position. They're trying to get their skill position on a non-skilled guy so they can use his athleticism. So what we got to do, we got to figure out how to get better at linebackers. That's what we went in and got, how to get bigger but still faster linebackers so they can still be able to at least run with the quarterback for at least 5 yards, to get him down. So he pull it. We want him to continue to just run wide. So it's very important how you recruit linebackers. Now, at first, like you said, they used to be big pluggers. Now they got to be able to change directions. They got to be able to run. And at some point, they got to be able to cover the running back out the backfield.
And that's a tough, tall order for a lot of these guys, especially with the way the speed of the game is going this day. And then we talk about the speed of the game because you talk about those skill position players, the defensive back, the DBs. You got two guys on the all-SWAC selection, Herman Brister, the third, making the all-SWAC second team, and then Horatio Johnson making the all-SWAC first team defense, man. Horatio is a guy, like I said earlier in the show, 18th in the conference last year in the SWAC with 74 total tackles. Talk about Herman Brister III and Horatio Johnson and what they mean for this defensive backfield, as well as a cast of other guys that you're going to be looking forward to help them out with the depth of this DB room.
I tell you this, let's start with Horatio. Horatio is a guy that's been around here for a minute. And it just feels good to see guys that you stay around and you coach them and he develop and you see him grow into the player that he is. That's something, sometimes that's the good thing about coaching. You don't get to see that often. But Horatio is one of those guys I had the opportunity to be coaching him for 3 years. So he understands exactly what he's doing back there. He's very athletic, he's smart, and he's physical. So I'm glad that he's starting to get the recognition that he has, and he's our leader. You're talking about Herman Bristol, came in from us from Air Force last year. As soon as he stepped on campus, he was a force. Okay, and he's continuing to be a force, and he's going to be a force until he leaves Southern. A big kid that can run, that can cover, that can tackle. I mean, it's just the sky's the limit for that kid. But here's a name that I think is very underrated, but he's going to be a great football player for us. He was a great football player for us last year. Didn't get a whole lot of recognition, but I told him, don't worry about that. Just keep playing. And that's Elijah West. Okay? Remember that name.
What about some other guys, Coach, along with Elijah?
We still got guys. Spencer, he been around here. Played all last year. Eric Reed played all last year. The secondary is loaded and experienced, and we also signed a couple of corners. That's gonna add to not only to the corner position, but to the safety position, to the nickel position. My thing is I don't recruit corners and safeties anymore because the speed is so fast. I recruit DBs. Yeah, so I look for guys that can play more than one position, a guy that can play corner, a guy that can play nickel, a guy that can play safety. So nowadays, when you go against this RPO offense, you ain't got to worry about them putting a fast guy on a guy that can't cover.
And, you're talking about Elijah West. He was 7th in the SWAC last year in passes defended. Definitely a name to look out for. Let's look at the position coaches that are going to be working under you as the defensive coordinator. Go through those guys and name us who's going to be on the staff working with you as we head into the fall.
Okay. Of course, we're still going to have Chris Scott. Of course, one of the school top leaders in tackles, coaching the linebackers. He's a Hall of Famer for Southern University. Coaching the D tackles, you're going to have DeMarcus Miller, who also played at Southern University and who is also a Hall of Fame from Southern University. Then you're going to have Coach Everett Todd coaching the defensive end, and he also / special team coordinator. Right? Then you're going to have a guy that took everybody's heart place, Southern University's heart, Coach Wallace. We had to find somebody that can pretty much bring that kind of energy, and I think we did well. His name is Linuel Stinson. Played 10 years in the NFL. Bring a lot of experience, bring a lot of knowledge to the game, something that I think can help us get to the next level. The more coaches you can have that can coach, the better your defense can be. And then we got a couple of young coaches, Caleb Williams, that helps around, my assistant, help with the secondary, a real good young coach that have a promising future.
Looking at this defense coming out of last year, what is it every year that you want to improve on? Because I think for Southern fans, when we look back, especially during the Eric Dooley tenure, I got the calls here on this show a lot. They say, if it wasn't for the defense, Southern would be in some trouble during those days. But the defense is continuously worked, and now having the preseason all-SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. 3 guys on the all-SWAC selection, first team and second team. What is the philosophy? Where are you headed into 2025 to make this thing better than what it was the previous few years you have been here at Southern?
We got to be great. We've been good the last, few years we've been here, and good just not good enough for us. In order for us to leap to where we want to go, we got to play. We got to be great. We got to open up our arms and embrace any type of challenge that we have head on. We got to be great. There's no underneath. There's no over the top. We got to be able to go through whatever challenges that we have. And we got to embrace that and get ready for it. We know we can do it. We just got to do it.
For our football coaches, of course, we call them the armchair coaches that's going to be in the stands, sitting back, calling the plays for you each and every down and making the substitutions for you. What is the defensive scheme we're looking at coming into the 2025 season?
Well, we still going to be multiple front defense, basically on a 4-2-5. We basically put our hat on there. It gives us the opportunity to play fast, play quick, and play physical. And we also can jump into a 3-3-5, and that's going to be the difference this year that we'll be able to do that, throw teams off here and there. But our bread and butter, we love it. And I think that the more defensive alignment that you can play and the more defensive alignment that can be disrupted, then that's what you want to do.
Last year, looking at this conference, and of course, your defense had to defend a lot against a lot. We've seen inconsistency at the quarterback position around this conference, looking at different offenses. But as you scout these offenses and you look around, What are you seeing in terms of tendencies of offensive coordinators around the SWAC conference over the past couple years?
Well, the philosophy pretty much changed. Most people used to um, run the ball to set up the pass, you know, and now they switch it to throw the ball to set up the run. And now you can see most of them getting back to running the football to throw it. You see a lot of play action. You see a lot of RPO action. So that's to get a lot of misdirection so they can create a little bit more space so they can get the quarterback a little bigger window so he can throw the football.
Looking back last year, give me one offense that you was just like, man, they giving us fits these games, man. What was that one offense?
To be honest with you, I thought we had our hands in every offense that we played. It wasn't what the offense had did to us, it's what we had did. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that we want to work on, not hurting ourselves, not making mistakes that cost us. And I think that the games, especially the big game, the FAMU, that's a mistake. The Jackson State, a couple of mistakes there. We was right in those games, and that's what we know. So we have to work on those plays that hurt us. So when we get back into that moment again, we don't make those same plays. We don't make those same mistakes.
And when you talk about mistakes, that's accountability. What does accountability look like amongst these defensive players? You got a great leader in Kelby Givens, but looking around that room, is it the maturity that's there that understand, hey, the culture is in place. It's on us guys to execute it.
And that's part of what we're saying, get to the next level. The coaches did what they have to do. In order for us to go where we need to go, there's got to be a player-driven team, defense. Everybody got to be held accountable, and everybody got to be responsible for doing their part. Okay, it got to be your team. We can do what we can do, but in order for us to go where we need to be and be where we want to be, it got to be a player-driven team. It got to mean more to them than it means to us.
I'm looking forward to the season, coaching. For everybody out there, be sure to get your season tickets today and get your tickets to the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Have you even had a chance to look at North Carolina Central? Have you been spending months looking at them or what?
Well, you know how it is, man. You don't really get your team, your player here, so I might know what I'm doing, but the key is get the players to understand what I'm doing.
In North Carolina
That's
Central,
the challenge.
Yeah, their offense has done pretty well over in the MEAC. Of course, they just won the Black College National Championship just a few years ago. And so we all know Trey Oliver, who was the former defensive coordinator at Southern University, as well as he coached the DBs. We know he knows Southern so well. So both you guys are going to be looking at this thing, trying to figure out, hey, how are we going to stop each other? And you're going to have your hands full with North Carolina Central. But guess what? At Southern, we know that's what it's like every weekend. It doesn't just start with them. It's going to be like that every weekend.
That's right. And you got to get tilt your hat to Trey. He's doing a good job over there. He have a great football club. They're going to be ready to play, and that's what makes this thing so exciting because we got to be ready to play right off the bat. We got to be ready to play right off the bat. So, it's going to be a good football game. We're expecting it to be a hard-fought football game, but we don't want no other way.
And I always look at it, you're going to have a national television audience, millions watching across the country. That does wonders for recruiting when you get a chance to put your defense on display. Kids at home watching, somebody may be thinking about transferring or coming out of high school and looking at that program and say, man, I love how tough that defense plays. I love what they're doing. It's a great opportunity for Southern.
Yes, sir. And we want to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. We want to be able to go out there on national TV and just play smart, play fast, and play physical. That's what we ask our guys to do. We're asking our guys to put on no cape, be Superman, or no other superhero.
That's the voice of defensive coordinator at Southern University, Coach Henry Miller. Thank you, Coach, for coming on this morning, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me this morning.
Yes, sir.